Have you ever heard of using niacin to lower cholesterol? Let's find out more. Hello, and let's dive right in with niacin. All right, niacin is actually, as I've said here, vitamin B3. You've heard of B3 probably. It's in usually like your B complex vitamins with all your other B vitamins, which is a great way to get it in. But specifically with B3, it has certain things that it really can help with. But one of them has been shown in studies to lower your cholesterol. So what does it do? Number one, it lowers the total cholesterol, which is great. Now again, I'm also going to refer you back to another video. In fact, I'll put the link up here on cholesterol and kind of the myths about cholesterol. But in essence though, hey, do you want to get your total cholesterol down? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Find out more from that video. But to get back to this, we lower total cholesterol with niacin. Also, niacin lowers your LDL cholesterol, commonly called the bad cholesterol. And what you'll find out too is that LDL isn't really the bad guy, the large fluffy LDL. It's more the small particle LDL. So again, niacin can affect and lower both. Also, niacin increases, which is pretty amazing, your good cholesterol. And in studies, it's shown it can raise it up to 30%, which is pretty amazing. And then LPA, which is lipoprotein A, this is like the taxi cab that carries your cholesterol around in your bloodstream, mainly the LDL cholesterol. And again, it lowers that so you get less of what's called the sticky bad LDL, which is really just a small portion. And then also it lowers triglycerides. Now, triglycerides aren't really cholesterol. Triglycerides are related to high blood sugar. But again, this lowers them and by 25%. So really, if we look at niacin, pretty amazing stuff when it comes to cholesterol. Now, what's interesting, though, is a lot of the studies that they've done with niacin to help cholesterol, they're always adding a drug in. They're like, hey, let's try adding niacin with a statin drug. Let's try adding niacin with something that doesn't make it cause a flush. They start to add in these other things, and then it skews the result. And it's like, oh, that didn't really turn out well, but let's publish it as just this is what niacin does or doesn't do. So a little frustrating with that. But again, that's kind of how things work. Now, what can happen? What would cause a deficiency in niacin in your body? Well, number one, if you take any antacids, you're already lowering your ability to digest and absorb niacin. This can cause deficiency. Anytime you have any type of gastrointestinal disease, if you have celiac disease, Crohn's, colitis, if you have gut dysbiosis, small intestinal inflammation, SIBO, leaky gut syndrome, any of these things affect your ability to absorb niacin on just a regular basis of getting it from your foods. Also, there's many medications out there that affect your ability to digest, absorb, and utilize niacin or deplete niacin. So you always want to look for that too. And also, if you have a diet high in refined foods, if you eat out a lot, if you eat a lot of processed foods, if you buy a lot of prepackaged stuff at the grocery store, you're going to get deficient in niacin. And then sugar, if you eat a lot of sugar, you're going to be deficient in niacin. All right, and also, interestingly enough, if you eat a vegan diet, because the main source of niacin is going to be more animal protein, so this can cause deficiency. And then if you have liver disease, niacin's not going to work properly. Also, your body actually has the ability, if it has the other nutrients, it has the ability to synthesize some of its own niacin, which is pretty amazing. So we do have kind of a backup there to a degree. But again, if you have liver disease, there's no way you can do that, and that could just be inflammation of your liver. That could be deficiency of things that your liver needs, full-blown cirrhosis or fatty liver. Some of these other issues can affect that. And then also, if we look at, hey, how does the liver do this? What does it need to maybe help increase its synthesis of niacin? Well, you got to have plenty of tryptophan. Where do you usually get that? It's an amino acid. Usually you'll get it from meats. We always think of turkey when we think of tryptophan because tryptophan turns into serotonin and actually can make you feel good or can make you feel tired. Also, you got to have plenty of iron. If you're anemic, iron deficiency, if you're even just a little low in iron, this can throw off your ability to synthesize niacin. And then also vitamin B2 if you're low in that. And again, that's why I feel that taking niacin with other B vitamins crucial. And so what are sources? Great sources. Eggs are going to be really good. Any type of animal protein, especially sometimes some studies will show it more like in some of these smaller fish like sardines and things like that. But really, any animal protein is going to contain it. And then you can actually get some too from taking or utilizing nutritional yeast, which a lot of people more that are vegetarian or vegan might look for that source. So what else can this this great nutrient do. Niacin is also important in the formation of what's called NADH. And NADH is what your mitochondria utilize to make energy. So pretty darn important that niacin is present in your system in good abundant amounts, because you got to make energy, you got to make ATP. Also for cellular signaling, how our cells talk to each other, niacin is used in that whole process. DNA repair, very important. So when you take niacin, what it does also is it dilates blood vessels. And that's why, too, when people take niacin at a certain dose, when you hit a certain dose, you'll get what's called a niacin flush. That's where you feel like you're having a hot flash, but you will turn red potentially, and you may feel itchy all over or in certain areas. It's definitely a fact. Now, why is this? Is it a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. What you did suddenly is you dilated capillaries, you dilated these blood vessels, and suddenly you get this rush of blood flow in your skin and not only that, but even in internal areas. So this fantastically increases circulation, which is great. But when you increase circulation that fast and that much, yeah, you're going to get this all of a sudden, hey, I'm turning red. It's an odd sensation. Sometimes, again, if you dose it that high, it may be uncomfortable. So we'll talk more about dosage here in a minute. And then brain health. Yeah, you're increasing circulation to the brain with niacin. So absolutely. And actually, too, increasing energy production in the brain at the mitochondrial level. So many potentials here. And also to make certain things in the body, certain neurotransmitters, things like that. Niacin can also be important. And then sleep and stress. So niacin can be used to help the body with sleep, especially in stressful situations. So it's pretty neat stuff in that direction, too. So the thing is starting the dose low and working your way up. You want to bring yourself up to where you notice a little bit of flush, not to where it's extreme, but a little bit of flush is healthy, and that's what you actually want to look for. Now, what you'll find is if you take niacin regularly, you'll be able to increase that dose after a while without getting that same, it'll take a higher dose to get that flushing effect. So your body will adapt to this, because it's really in these higher dosages, probably when you hit around 1,000 to 2,000 is where you get the bigger benefits on lowering the cholesterol. So you want to slowly work your way up. Although I've had patients that have taken just smaller doses on a regular basis, and they'll maybe get like 20 milligrams in 3 times a day or 4 times a day, and we'll already see that impact or have great effects on their cholesterol levels and triglycerides and everything else. So it varies per person on how you utilize this. It varies with your overall health. So the thing is, though, is there's another type of niacin called niacinamide, and that's where they've made it's called no flush niacin. You're supposed to be able to take it, not get it. This is what a lot of doctors will say, oh, you should take the niacinamide. That way you don't get the flush, but you still get the benefit. That's not true. Niacinamide does not cause or give you the same benefit as straight niacin. And then also there's another one, niacinate. Sometimes it's sold as inositol hexoniacinate, and it does not do the same thing either. Now, again, what can you get from this? You could get the flushing. Yeah, that would be it's kind of uncomfortable when you get it. So again, start low, work your way up. That's what I would do with my patients. That itchy skin sensation, yeah, again, it's just temporary. It doesn't last long, but it is an uncomfortable sensation, again, if you dose too much. It's potentially said that if you take niacin too much, too often, it could increase your uric acid levels. I've never seen this occur. I would say that's probably occurring because of other deficiencies and other problems. But if you have a condition like gout, you may want to bring it up slow and watch your blood levels of your uric acid. And then also it's been said in some literature that high niacin over long periods can be toxic to your liver, hepatotoxicity. Number one, I've never seen that occur. Number two, that would take extreme doses over a long period of time to occur. Or if you already have other health conditions, deficiencies, and problems, then yeah, maybe you're more susceptible to these things. So these are things you have to watch out for. But otherwise, niacin gets the thumbs up. Great stuff. And again, I think this is a fantastic tool for aiding in cholesterol reduction that doesn't involve a pharmaceutical statin drug. All right. God bless.